Okay, so we're beginning with our midterm module, which is going to be about the novel The 100-Foot Journey by Richard C. Maurice. You should be starting your reading of it ASAP. And I've put in this module for you a connection to the Purdue Owl's definition of literary analysis, as well as some basic literary concepts that you're going to be applying to this novel. And I call your attention to the basics because this is what we'll be working with in English 1A predominantly. We get into the more detailed concepts in English 1C and English 2B. So the basics are the plot, which is the story. The setting is particularly symbolic in the 100-Foot Journey because Hassan and his family travel to many different countries before settling in France. Narration, the point of view, who is telling the story? Is it an individual telling a story, or is it what we call an omniscient narrator? Characterization, how the characters are described, and most importantly are these two terms here, symbol and metaphor. So a symbol is actually a thing that means more than itself. So a trophy, for example, would be a symbol of victory. A metaphor is an elaborate symbol or a set of symbols. And in our particular book, The 100-Foot Journey, food is a metaphor for Hassan's coming of age story. I want to draw your attention to my annotation of the novel. And I've picked a particular passage to draw your attention to and show you a couple of different things. First, this is the section where Hassan has moved with his family to London, which is sort of a layover before they get to France. He doesn't like London, and he mentions here that after the violent murder of his mother, that he is at an age where he's just discovering girls and that he's now confusing all of these feelings about things that are feminine together. He has what I would call here a bunch of different metaphors. He's got the charred residue on the soul, like black marks found at the bottom of a burned pot. In his mind, his mother equals love. Also in his mind, love equals food, because his mother taught him how to cook, and cooking is what Hassan's calling is. So this would be a very good quote to use, for example, if I wanted to talk about Hassan's feelings about love and his feelings about loss, which are all wrapped up in these metaphors about food. And in addition, on the page next, page 49 of your text, we learn that Hassan is spending a lot of time in his friend Deepak's basement. Basements, dark places, forests, and alleys are always symbolic of hell or symbolic of places where people get lost. And certainly that is what has happened to Hassan here when he gets to take his first hit of reefer madness, and he also is introduced to the world of women and the world of sex. He mentions here that he meets two giggly English girls sunk like plump little peaches among the beanbags. I think this is very interesting because, again, peaches, he mentions the way the girls look, and he mentions their plumpness. He says down here they have chubby white legs. All of these could also be used to describe a peach. And as we mentioned before, Hassan has mixed up his feelings about his mother with his feelings about love, with his feelings about food. Now that he's becoming sexually active, those feelings are also mixed into his feelings about his mother. So I've put in my notes here, and I always underline important passages, that here he's describing the ripeness of the girls, that here food is a metaphor for sex, not just a metaphor for love. And these kinds of clues while you're doing your reading are good to take note of. Your books should be written all over the way that mine is here. You can use stars to mark things that are important. You can flag pages with sticky notes, whatever your particular science is for annotating a text, because you're going to be using this information in your midterm. And it's also going to help point you to theme and the theme of this particular novel, what it is, how it is making its message known, and how you are going to be writing about it using these clues primarily from symbols and metaphors. So look for them. And you can notice the symbols and metaphors when they repeat as well. So as I've given you already, this is a book about food. It's also a book about journeys. It's a book about love, and it's a book about coming of age. So any of these could be themes, but you're going to want to work on what your particular reading of this text is. And I hope that helps.